Hey, what's up guys, Freeze here again with another video. In today's video I'm going to talk about what items you should build on AD Bruiser Shyvana in Season 11. Many people asked me what the current best AD Shyvana build looks like, so I'd figure I'd do a video for you about it. Now there are some different builds out there at the moment and you can play many different items on her. In the following I'll mention the items I've tried out so far and I've seen the best AD Shyvana players build. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Blue or Red Smite. This is a choice that totally depends on your personal preference, but overall you can say that Blue Smite makes it easier for you to stick on the enemies and Red Smite gives you more dueling potential. Most AD Shyvana players in high elo pick Blue Smite, but like I said, it totally depends on your personal preference. Boots. As AD Bruiser Shyvana you want to base your choice of boots depending on the enemy team comp. If the enemies have mostly physical damage, then you probably should buy ninja tabbies. If the enemy lineup is more based on magic damage and they have a lot of stuns, snares and slows, the better choice is to buy Mercury Treads. First item. Your first item should almost always be Blade of the Rune King, cause it gives you a decent amount of attack speed, some AD and some lifesteal to make you more sustainable in the jungle. It also gives you some good on-hit effects which fit nicely into our build. Now you can go Mythic first, but I'd recommend building Blade of the Rune King first. Second item. Your second item should always be your Mythic item. The most viable Mythic items for AD Shyvana are Strikebreaker, Trinity Force, Divine Sunderer, Frostfire Gauntlet or Sunfire Aegis. Here you should base your item choice depending on the kind of playstyle you want to go for. I'll split up the Mythics into offensive and defensive items to make it more clear. Offensive Mythic items. Strikebreaker. With Strikebreaker you gain a decent amount of attack speed, health and AD. It also gives you a lot of mobility because it allows you to dash that also slows the enemy. Additionally, it gives every other legendary item 3% move speed. This will make it easier for you to rotate fast on the map, stick to your targets and get in and out of fights. Trinity Force. Trinity Force is kind of similar to Strikebreaker regarding the stats but gives you some more attack speed. On the other hand, it lacks the nice active dash and also has a pretty poor mythic passive. But the threefold strike passive gives you a max increase of 30% AD after 5 auto attacks, which is pretty good for duels. Divine Sunderer. Divine Sunderer gives you a decent amount of AD and health but lacks some attack speed. The Spellblade passive deals 10% target max health damage, which is why it can be a pretty good choice into tanky enemies. So with the aggressive mythic items, you will be more of a fighter and less tanky, which requires a little bit more of a thoughtful and precise playstyle. Just a quick note, if you liked my content, then I'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Defensive mythic items. Frostfire Gauntlet. Frostfire Gauntlet gives you a decent amount of HP and resistances and a slow on your auto attack, which makes it easier for you to stick on your target. You also gain the Immolate passive, which lets you deal damage to nearby enemies over time. Sunfire Aegis. Sunfire Aegis gives you very similar stats like Frostfire Gauntlet, but instead of a slow you gain burn damage on your auto attacks based on how many stacks you got from damaging champions or epic monsters. It also gives you the Immolate passive. The defensive mythic items let you be more of a tanky frontliner for your team, which makes it more forgiving to just dive into teamfights and stay in them longer. Now let's take a look on the third item for AD Shyvana. Third item. Now I recommend going Sterix Gauge as your third item or Titanic Hydra if the enemies have a lot of tanks. You could also try to build Wit's End if the enemies are full AP, but I personally prefer going either Sterix Gauge or Titanic Hydra before that. Of course there are other legendary items that could work as a third item on Shyvana, but these two are the ones that are currently built the most. Fourth and fifth item. Again, you want to base your choice of your last two items on the enemy team comp, but here's a list you can choose from. Offensive legendary items. Sterix Gauge, Titanic Hydra, Wit's End, Chempunk Chainsword, Guardian Angel. Defensive legendary items. Thornmail, Force of Nature, Spirit Visage, Deadman's Plate, Randuin's Omen, Gargoyle Stoneplate. Core combinations. Now to sum it up and make it a bit easier for you, here are a few core combinations you can choose from. First, Blade of the Rune King plus Strikebreaker plus Sterix Gauge. Second, Blade of the Rune King, Frostfire Gauntlet or Sunfire Aegis. Third, Blade of the Rune King, Divine Sunderer, Sterix Gauge. Fourth, Blade of the Rune King, Trinity Force, Titanic Hydra. If you want to find out how to do a fast first clear on Shyvana, you should also check out my first clear guide I uploaded recently. The link for it is in the top right corner. Please let me know in the comments if this video was helpful to you. May you do well in your ranked games and I will see you in the next video.